Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to talk about Skul the Hero Slayer. And Skul the Hero Slayer is another early access roguelike game that has come out recently. I know there's been a lot of them that have come out recently that have piqued my interest, and just small disclaimer, the developers did send me a key to review this game, but it won't, influence my review at all, and you'll see in a little bit. But from the trailers and watching and stuff like that, it looked like this really awesome 2D pixel art roguelike game that kind of was similar to Rogue Legacy or just other roguelites or roguelikes, and it was very interesting to me. I didn't really know what the combat system was like or anything like that, but I was willing to give it a shot. And so right off the bat, I faced about 20 minutes of troubleshooting the game. So first of all, the game is in Korean. I think that is what the language is by default. And when you go into the game and there's all this Korean writing, you don't really know what it is. So, you go in and then there's just a wall of Korean text. And if you try to press anything, the game just crashes immediately. And apparently I figured out you just have to sit there for about 30 seconds and then it'll let you in the game. But if you press anything beforehand, the game will crash. Then when you get in, the game is still entirely in Korean, so you have to change the language settings, which I just figured out luckily, and then just got lucky and changed it to English. And so off the bat, we're kind of off to a rough early access start. It definitely is not feeling as polished as some of the other. The last video game I reviewed was Scourgebringer, and that is an early access game, and that has 10 times more polish than this. But I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. This is just early access. Being early access, I totally can understand that. So that'll probably be fixed, maybe even by the time you guys are watching this video. But kind of gives you the feeling of maybe this isn't exactly as I was thinking. But I get in, the art style is really, really cool, and then it starts telling me the PC controls, and it's using the arrow keys and then pressing C and X, and it's almost feeling like a Flash game. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to worry about this, just plugging in my controller, because it didn't look like there was a way for me to change the controls. So I, plugged in a controller, and luckily the controller support is native. That works entirely. So if you're going to play this game, play it with a controller. And it looks really, really nice. All of the animations are really nice to look at. This is a really nice looking game. But the first thing I kind of started to notice is the combat feels a little bit flat and just maybe missing a lot of depth. And what I mean by that is it's one of those games where you move around and you have like a single button to attack with. And you do have some special abilities. Some of it might actually be blocked by my camera in the bottom left. But for your main character, he's got two abilities. He can throw his skull, and his skull does a little bit of damage, and then he can teleport to his skull, and they're on cooldowns. But it doesn't really do that much damage. So for the most part, your best action is to just run up to things and spam the attack button, and then they kind of hint that they're going to attack, and then you jump away, and then you go back in. But when you're attacking, it doesn't feel like Dead Cells or Rogue Legacy or Scourgebringer. It just feels like you're just attacking in your area. You're not like, there's not a lot of weight to it. You're just kind of spamming the attack button until things die, and you might jump out of the way if they're about to attack you. And what's really interesting about this game is it has a really interesting premise. So, it has its roguelike, but as you make it further, you find, I think new skeletons, and you can just put on their head and get their abilities. And you can always switch back to the original Skul version where you throw your skull and, teleport to it. But you can kind of balance those cooldowns, and then switching between them is their own cooldown in itself. But so some of the things, I got this swords man, that swords skull skeleton that had a special skull and a special ability. Then there was one that I got from a shop that was like a mage, and he threw daggers, and a lot of this stuff isn't that well explained, and so it's kind of just me guessing, but they're all pretty simple, so it's not that hard. But I really like that premise. I like the premise of, you're a skeleton, so you can just pop on a new skeleton's head and get their ability. Just unfortunately, it doesn't feel like what I would want it to be. If it's going to be something like this, I want the gimmick to be something like like so drastic. Like lean into that gimmick, do like Kirby, where just left and right, you're fighting maybe other skeletons and sometimes their heads pop off and you can get their abilities. I know that's leaning way more into something that this game isn't really necessarily trying to do, but to me that's one of the coolest parts besides the pixel art graphics in this game, is that just kind of concept of switching heads on people and doing that. And in doing that, you would have to focus less on the combat, because right now the combat seems to just be spam a single button and then jump out of the way when things are about to attack you. The progression as well kind of just works like any other progression system, except it's a lot more just stat based. So you go back, every run you can go to the witch, and the witch has these like 3 skill trees, or 3 or 4. And, you have to put at least 1 in it before you can go on to the next. But I think you can just keep putting as much as you want to keep buffing them, because they're just stats. So there are things like, buff your attack damage, buff your, just a lot of stat number increases. And it's kind of those where it's like, okay, is this just scaling infinitely? I'm not sure if it is scaling infinitely, but I don't like that. I like something where you get, like Scourgebringer, you got a new thing. So half of the abilities in that tree were unlocking a combo meter, unlocking this awesome fury attack, just constant new mechanics or abilities or attacks. But in this, it's just like increasing your damage, increasing your defense, and there's a couple special ones in there, but just off the bat, that's what it looks like. And the last main thing I kind of want to focus in this is just the polish, and going back to the bugs and the glitches and stuff like that. Obviously that will be fixed. This is literally like the first hour of early access I played this game in, but there are just some instances of this game I don't even think being ready for early access, because there was like an item that was being sold in the shop and I literally could not see what it was, but it was the most expensive item there. So I bought it because I could, and then I didn't know what it did. It gave me a new ability, but it like created this black hole thing, but I didn't really know what it did. So I went to the menu where it told me I could look at all my items and everything, and there was just a blank white square with no description text whatsoever. And early access is really useful for companies, especially roguelikes and things like this, because community feedback and balance is really important, because there's some things that you might not know are wrong or are unbalanced until thousands of people play it. The problem is there's some issues in this game that you don't need early access testers to test. You know what I mean? You just should know that there's missing text or a missing description in the game, and get that fixed before early access. And I don't want to hate on this game too much, because honestly I can tell that there's effort here. This doesn't just feel like a asset flip or anything like that, or a game maker game that someone put no effort in. It does feel like it has something here. I think it needs a lot more time in the oven, because I think the combat system needs to be completely reworked. I think it would be nice to lean fully into the Skul system, maybe taking inspiration from Kirby games or something like that. And keep the art style, because the art style is honestly, even in the Steam store, that's kind of one of the main things they're bragging about. I think they know that they don't necessarily, the art style is what definitely sets them apart from a lot of other games, and so I think they should definitely lean into it, because the animations in this and the pixel graphics are really nice and really cool. Obviously there have been some games with pixel art that I might like the style a little bit better, but by no means is this bad. This art style here is great, and I think this could be a good game. Just right now, I think it needs more time in the oven, and this is something that I could definitely see myself checking maybe in a couple months, a year, and see how the early access progress is doing at that point. But for the time being, I unfortunately possibly would not recommend getting this game until at least it spends a little bit more time in the oven, at least for the polishing issues. If you're looking at all this and you're looking at the combat and you're thinking, okay, I can still get behind that, still maybe wait a little bit for some of the UI issues and the bugs and glitches and the language issues to be fixed, and maybe hold off a little bit, but that is just my experience, and you know, unfortunately I really wanted to like this game. It didn't really do it for me, especially the combat system. But overall, I would love to hear your guys' opinions on this game, you know, if you've somehow played it already or just from watching the gameplay. Also, if there's any games that are coming out soon that you guys really would like me to review, let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. New videos come out about twice a week. And if you guys are having a great day today, I hope you continue having a great day. If you guys aren't having a great day, I hope you guys start having a great day. But either way, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. See you guys next time.